This is Nadja, co-founder of Altcoin Observer, joined here today live at WikiExpo, Bangkok, Thailand, by the CEO and founder of Affi Network, Pinaki Sachathamakul, who is going to be talking to us about loyalty in Web3. So Pinaki, welcome. Very, very happy to have you here. You guys are working specifically on helping brands in Web3 address the loyalty issues that they have. So I want to start us off. What are issues that Web3 native companies face in marketing and loyalty that perhaps are not faced by Web2 companies?
Absolutely. So thanks so much. Great to be here. So brands face, a lot of problems with loyalty in Web3, and partly because, all the actions and transactions are happening on chain, right? So loyalty is used very much in the Web2 world, right? We have points, we have cashback, we have stamps, we have coupons, we have bonus, we have all types of incentives that exist in Web2. And in Web3, the difference is that the transactions are actually happening on chain, right? And so the POS systems are actually contract addresses. So what businesses want to do is want to incentivize users to either make a certain transaction. So they might deposit, they might stake, they might mint, and these transactions are happening on chain. So a use case example is like, if I want to pay, if I want to give a $10 cashback for every $100 that you deposit, how does a Web3 business actually set that up? So the first challenge is actually making this program automated, right? Building it as a smart contract. That's the first challenge. How do you actually make it automated? The second thing is, how do and how do you track, right? And the pain point of actually doing it manually is like, you need to actually verify that these transactions happened on chain. You need to actually go to a block explorer and see whether this specific user met the threshold requirement. If so, then you might have to copy and paste them onto a Google sheet or an Excel, and then
A lot of room for human error, it seems.
a lot of room for human error, and then it also creates a lot of challenge for businesses to scale, right? So what happens if you want to do 1,000 or 2,000, cashback payouts right away, right? And the right away part is actually very important from a UX perspective, because users don't want to do an action and receive an incentive 2 weeks later, right?
You've forgotten that you took the action in the first place by
Yeah,
then.
and then you might not even take the action because it's not sticky enough. The campaign. I want the cash back now, and so where we come in is we help businesses, set that up. We're a white label solution. We help Web3 businesses plug and play a loyalty engine.
So what is it then that makes loyalty in Web3 a more attractive option once you get past the adoption hurdles, the text, the UX, the UI? What is it about Web3 loyalty that has a one over on Web2 loyalty?
I think the key here is really ownership. And the way that I see it is it's about turning your customers into your tribe, right? And you see that in Web2, right? We have companies like Grab, Uber, depending on where you are in the world, PayPal, raises billions in investor dollars, and you burn that on incentives, promo codes, a lot of promo codes, right? Just a lot of promo codes, a lot of ads, and just trying to get users, right? But in Web3, the interesting thing is, projects mint their own tokens, right?
Yeah.
And so now you're playing in the line of like, is this a currency? Is this an incentive? What's actually happening here? And you've seen like iterations of projects distributing incentives in an unsustainable way, right? Distributing it to, maybe people who are just hunters and not actually going to be genuinely sticking with your project for the long term.
Actually, my talk earlier was 100% about this, so we're very much in alignment here.
Absolutely, right? And so where I think incentives comes in, and where incentives in Web3 has one off over Web2 is in ownership, because what you can do is actually incentivize users who are depositing stablecoins by giving them 1 or 2% or 5% of your token back in the form of cashback. And these people aren't hunters because they're already paying and using your product. So what you can do over time is actually take these incentive tokens and distribute it to your tribe, right? And Web3 enables all types of utilities with tokens, right? You have revenue share, right? You have voting. You have all types of things that could be done simply with token, even product utility.
I think we need to, I'm sure
and-
we're not even in there.
And so that's where I see, the value.
So, if we think about loyalty, we've seen examples in the, let's call it the Web 2 world, of what loyalty looks like. Do you think that the very definition of loyalty then is changing because of these Web 3 technologies? We don't necessarily see them in action just yet, but potentially, based on the technology that's possible, based on the innovation that we are seeing gradually take place by step. Do you think that there's going to come a time when we think of loyalty, we're going to think of it differently, loyalty programs differently than we do now, the average person?
Absolutely. I think today you think about loyalty in the form of it's how can I benefit from this? What cashback can I get right now? It's more about the transaction at the moment, right? Or maybe sometimes you're collecting stamps for a later date, you get a free coffee, but it's not so much to be able to contribute, right, and to be able to get access, right? So it kind of brings you back to ownership again, and that's how loyalty is being transformed, right? It's not just giving people a cashback, but that cashback now could be utilized, right, in the form of voting power, right? And now you as a customer or a stakeholder of my product, you could essentially tell me what features you want next. You have the ability, right? You are empowered. And I think that's what Web3 does.
So, to give an example, I have a coffee shop across from my street that has a loyalty program. I prefer to go to that coffee shop because I like the feeling of my app being scanned and I'm getting more points. However, none of the points that I have I own. They all have an expiry date. I can get a 50% discount on this and I can get a free that. I don't actually use those gifts that I'm being given. Whenever I go to that restaurant and they don't have the thing in stock that I'm there to order, I have no say over when it's going to be back in stock. And so for me as a customer, the loyalty aspect is almost, oh, here you go. Whereas in Web3, it's part and parcel of me as an agent in Web3. So then do you think that if we are reinventing what it means to reward people for loyalty, what kind of education is needed for people to understand that this is an evolved version of what loyalty programs are?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't have the answer to this, right? I think that the space is evolving, right? I think there's a lot of education that's happening in this space. DAOs are still new to people, right? I mean, like, even though we've been around it for a while, we know it for a few years, but nobody knows how to do it properly still, right, today. And if you think about DAOs in general, like by principle, it makes a lot of sense, but I think, 10% utilization, right? So there's still a lot of things fundamentally that need to be, resolved before we can kind of redefine loyalty. But I think the way to think about loyalty is it's usually linked to transactions, right? Like loyalty is linked to credit cards, linked to points, linked to miles, right? So the question is, in Web3 transactions, how are we actually rewarding the users for those transactions in a sustainable way, right? And I think those people who are already coming to make those transactions wouldn't actually need to be educated about, the Web3 component because they're already there as a customer. This just kind of enhances them and empowers them to stick around.
So it sounds like the consensus is Web3 technology should be invisible, but should be ever present.
Yeah. Exactly.
Thank you so much for all of your amazing insights, Pinaki. And where are people able to follow you and Affi Network?
Yeah, so you can follow us on Twitter. You can follow us. You can join our Telegram communities. We're making lots of updates, to our pages all the time. Not sure when this is going to go out, but literally every week we're doing something.
Founder's life, right?
Yeah.
Working on a lot of things, but never sure when this is going to be ready to go out before the next thing needs to be worked on.
Yeah, I mean, actually, we have a whole. Again, depending on when this goes out, but this month we have, a lot of things that we're looking to push out. So it's this month. We're rolling out a new white paper, updated white paper. We're rolling out updated docs. Our product's going live beta. We just went live on Uniswap. So there's a lot of things happening now.
Congratulations. Good luck. I think this is the month. Wishing you all the best and thank you for sharing your insights with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.